Hey, I am recording. I hate that I never know whether or not I'm recording. And since I don't really have mirrors, I only have this little bitty thing. It's hard for me to kind of figure out whether or not I am. On my way to go get some premium petrol. I need it in my life. I'm so happy that the weather cleared up this morning, like early this morning. When I was still laying in bed, I could hear the pouring rain outside. And the only thing I could think to myself was, oh God, riding to work is going to suck today. But thankfully, let's go, guy, come on. Thankfully, things cleared up. I mean, not entirely. It's still cloudy, and there still looks like there's some, sporadic rain clouds here and there. But for the most part, I think I'll make it to work pretty dry, for the exception of the amount of sweat that I'm going to be covered in, because that always happens. I got like a 30-mile ride, and I'm going to be pretty sweaty by the time I get there, which is why I bring my backpack and a change of clothes, because there's no way I'm working like that. It's gas time. So the other day I went to my first SuperCon. That was pretty fun. I've never been to SuperCon, let alone I've never actually been to like any con, Comic-Con or any of the other cons that are out there. I think there's a Dragon Con? I'm not sure. But anyway, it was my first time going. A lot of fun. Those of you that don't know, I'm a giant nerd. So what I really appreciated about the SuperCon was when I'm out in like normal public, things in business settings or just in, day-to-day life, to sit there and talk with people about, video games or comic books or things like that. Like, people look at you with this, judgmental look, like, oh, you nerd, like, aren't you an adult? Grow up. And the truth is, I am grown. I have a job, I pay my bills, I do adult things, but it hasn't changed the fact that I love comic books, from when I was a kid. I don't buy a whole lot of them nowadays, but, I still like them, and I still like all the mythos, I think, that surrounds comic book characters. I love the movies. I've seen all of them. They're all fantastic. And, of course, I play some video games every now and again, so, I watch some anime. So yeah, I like all that stuff. But when you talk about that kind of stuff as an adult in a business situation or just like in any normal life, like even some of my friends look at me as if there's something wrong with me, like I'm a giant child. But when I go to this SuperCon thing, come to find out, everybody there is pretty much into all the same stuff. They're into video games. They're into comic books, they're into anime, etc. So, to sit there with people that you meet at those SuperCons or any of the cons, you can talk about these things with them for hours, and nobody looks at you differently because everyone there is just as big a nerd as you are. So, it's pretty cool to be able to let your nerd flag fly, which is actually kind of why I like the job that I work at now. Where I work now, we're all just a bunch of nerds. Like, my boss really likes comic books and video games and old 80s movies and all that stuff. And it's like all the stuff that I'm into, he's into as well, for the most part. So, that he and I get along really well. And most of the people that work there are all kind of in the same boat. So it just makes our work environment very, very fun, which I absolutely love. God, I'm already sweating. Holy crap. That moment when you have your head in your helmet and you can feel the sweat dripping off your upper lip? Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. It's disgusting. Oh, man. I haven't ridden in a few days, and that feels good. So, yeah, while I was at the SuperCon, I was able to pick up some cool swag. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw I posted a picture when I got back from SuperCon of all the stuff that I brought home. And truthfully, I wanted to buy more. There was a ton of things I wanted to buy, but I had to refrain. Otherwise, I would have spent, as it is, I already spent like, I think $100 in just like buying stuff while I was there. So I had to refrain from spending several $100s, which is really what I wanted to do. But again, I'm an adult, I got bills to pay, I can't do that. But if you've never been, this road is crappy. If you've never been to one of the SuperCons or Comic-Con or any of those things, even if you're kind of remotely into, you know, superheroes and comic books or video games or anime or any of that, then you should absolutely go. Because even for the people watching and seeing all the people dressed up in cosplay, it's pretty awesome. I mean, some of these people that do the cosplay put a hell of a lot of effort into these costumes, which I think is absolutely amazing. I mean, I would love to do that. I wish I had the time to you know, put something together. And I'm not one to like half-ass things, so if I were to do it, I would go all out. And it would be the most badass and probably expensive cosplay ever done. Just because that's the way my brain operates. Like if I wanted to make a sword, I'm not making that thing out of foam and like paper mache. No, I'm probably gonna go to like a blacksmith and have him forge me a sword out of steel. And I don't care how much it costs, I just want to have the, you know, the most badass, authentic looking costume. That's how my brain works. Which is probably why I'm not gonna do it, because it's gonna cost me an arm and a leg to do something like that. So it's better that I don't.